This reaction here is a co-reaction because we are able to generate some kind of F4 that is going to be used in welding torches or producing a welding torch, and this is a product known as what, acetylene. And acetylene is produced when you have this interesting reactant here, which is known as calcium carbide, reacting with water, and it's going to form calcium hydroxide and this incredible 4 here. Now the interesting thing about this is, what if we want to determine how much mass of this here is produced in what grams when you have this amount of moles of our particular reactant involved in this particular reaction. Now take note here that we need to do the first step here, which is known as balancing the equation. And to balance this equation, what we do is that we see here that our oxygens are not balanced, so that means we need to have a 2 somewhere around here, and this here is where the water is going to have 2 oxygen balance here. This here is perfect. Now in here we see that we need to do the mole to mole ratio, because by so doing we can have that mole equivalencies out of the way and we can get into the mass process. And so what do we see here? We are comparing this here with that right here. So we know that in terms of our mole to mole ratio, we have 1 mole of our acetylene in this case to be produced when 1 mole of our what, calcium carbide is being consumed. And once we have these equivalencies right here as a ratio, the next part is what, how are we going to integrate our mole that is given to know what is required. In here we need to eliminate what, our calcium carbide, and to do that we need to multiply this by our 0.4 mole of our what, calcium carbide, that is what given, and this here is going to allow us to determine what is the number of moles of our acetylene that is going to be what generated. Once it cancels out, we have our moles to be 0.4 moles of acetylene, and this number here we need to convert it to grams, and we know that based on the molar formula and by adding all the atomic mass units, the molecular weight of our acetylene to be equal to what, 26 grams per mole. And so once we have this here with our moles, we are going to multiply these 2 numbers together to get what the grams is. And so the grams of our acetylene is going to be equal to what, 26 grams divided by the 1 mole times what, the 0.4 what moles. And this here, once we do this, cancels out, and we're going to get the number of mass, or the mass of acetylene that's going to be produced from this overall mole of our calcium carbide to be equal to what, approximately around 10.4 grams. And this here is how much is produced. Interesting stuff when it comes to mole equivalencies here and determining the mass of any species that is asked of you.